So next up, we have Cody performing Brian Moore, socialist candidate running for office. And my friends, I will be performing this one with him. Yes, I will. You're Brian Moore. One reason I like to interview people like Brian Moore and other candidates who are not from one of the two mainstream parties is not that John McCain or Barack Obama are coming on this show anyway. But it's nice to talk to people like Brian Moore because of what is actually to say what they think, and they actually are running for president and what they would actually do if they were elected president. And there's no pointing the thread in the needle if you're running for the Socialist Party USA, which is what Brian Moore is doing, president from the Socialist Party USA. Thank you very much for joining us, sir.
Well, thank you, Colin. I appreciate the invitation.
So let's begin. I mean, the word socialist gets slung around a lot, and I'm on a station that has a fair amount of conservative talk radio on it, and they call every day, and they don't seem to like socialists, and they call Barack Obama a socialist, and I know, yeah, that makes you laugh because Barack Obama is nowhere near close enough to being a socialist to make you happy, right?
That's correct.
So what is a socialist? What makes a socialist a socialist?
Well, socialist is that funny feeling you get in your stomach at night. We distribute the wealth. We want workers and citizens in the local community to be happy, to make the policy decisions from the ground up, and have a more equitable lifestyle. And right now, the wealth and the wealthy, Barack Obama included, and those that inherit the power and the wealth controlled by everything. And we want to shift through that transformation, that structure, and start selling drugs.
Goes behind the whole idea of social ownership of business, right? And worker control and production instead of for profit and stuff like that.
Correct. Right. And we base the production of services and products of the needs and not on the wants. I mean, capitalists basically try to promote us to want to do everything in the world and consume everything and spend money, you know? And even when it doesn't contribute to the welfare of the person or the econ or the ecology.
Now, in some ways, some of the things that you'd like to be running on would be kind of I mean that. It means the right little average for the hard person talk radio listening to rap hits or hair might around a lot of stuff you are campaigning is easy for them to get their minds around opposed to the Iraq opposition war in Iraq, Patriot Act in favor of single-payer national health care systems, stuff like that, right?
That's right. That is right. Immediate withdrawal of our troops, universal health care, which includes medical, dental, and mental health for all people, comprehensively, to all citizens, and guaranteed annual income, and...
Hey, explain.
Transferring the control of corporations to us. I'm going to stop there with the guaranteed annual income, because it's this kind of interesting idea.
Oh, yeah, that's you.
And level of income that's leading us to die a decent life, and that means undisabled people, handicapped people, making homeless people, and everyone getting along. Because as citizens, if we can do drugs with each other and one another, we want to be able to have a quality of life for all people. Everybody to share in the benefits of our society and of the exploitation of this country and what it has done to the world.
You're talking about $10,000 per family per year, right?
Pardon me?
$10,000 per family for a year. That's what you're talking about.
No, we're talking about $35,000 per adult individual.
All right,
But it doesn't mean you don't work for a living. You have an obligation to work, and if you don't work, well then you're not rewarded. But people have an incentive to really make more money under socialism because they share it in the profits. So the quality of life will much be better for them.
Yeah, I should point out that the idea of guaranteed income, a guaranteed floor income for the American families was also proposed, or at least talked about by the great socialist leader Richard M. Nixon. Nixon actually had this whole idea. It's a pretty radical idea. He also had much more radical idea in the area of the healthcare, really, than any other president coming after him or any presidential candidate from a major party who came after him. But actually, he did have this idea of he thought it should be a minimum income, so sort of kind of floor.
If I had a nickel for every time.
Yeah, you might. I mean, it's just your own curiosity. You might do a little research on this. It's kind of interesting.
I mean, he does surprise us with the different actions. I mean, in China negotiations, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So, how many 10. So how many states are you on the ballot, you know?
We're in Vermont, and we're in Colorado, and we're expecting by the next week or two to be in 6 other states. Tennessee and Louisiana, and where most of the deadliness of the states are. Thank goodness. Early August or early September. Oh, my own state of Florida, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Arkansas, the People's Revolution will come, and these are the states where the requirements for the signatures are 1 of 2,000 signatures. So it doesn't make it so difficult to qualify, but in no way can we come near Illinois or Texas or California. They want 158,000 signatures.
Obviously, your candidacy follows in the footsteps of Eugene V. Debs or Norman Thomas. You got a prominent people running as socialists in America before. Given how many states you're not on the ballot in, what's the purpose of this candidacy like this? Why do you do it?
Well, 100 years ago, Eugene Debs and company promoted and advocated child labor laws and women's suffrage, workers' compensation, unemployment and insurance, Social Security, Medicare. All those things came to fruition. Franklin Roosevelt in 20 years. 30 years later, or women's suffrage in 1920. But they were advocated by the socialists and other minority parties. So they opposed the war. They opposed the exploitation. World War I, which is based on golden profits. So they were right and vindicated because in all things together, many of these things that they've advocated have come from fruition, and we feel the same will occur even today.
So you think, for example, maybe a single-payer national health care system might be one of the ultimate things that you wind up helping bestow on the American public if your candidacy gets noticed?
Fuck yeah! But it's we emphasize national health care for everyone, which does not include the phrase single player. Single player is a way, is an avenue to that. That's our first. The goal we want to go beyond. That we want to see in the distant future, to be able to offer to all Americans, all citizens, even the legal ones, and based on a minimal tax. Right now we pay about $600 billion of profits, $1,600 for profit insurance companies, and we have duplications and unnecessary paperwork and a lot of exclusions. So all of these hang-ups will be eliminated, and we would be able to use that money to give health care to the 40 or 50 million people that don't have health care now.
Yeah, by the way, I just took the word single payer from your candidate questionnaire on votesocialist.org, so...
Well, I didn't have there initially. I don't run the damn website, okay? But I guess I didn't, so...
I don't like your attitude. But anyway, I mean, look, you know, I agree you on that one. Actually, I think a national health care plan is the way to go. And if you don't get everyone in one pool, none of these other things will ever work. I mean, we just went through this in Connecticut of having, you know, a pretty interesting bill that would have expanded healthcare coverage. But ultimately, if you're not covering everyone, you haven't solved the problem. And if you don't get everybody in the same pool, rich people, the poor people, and the sick people, and the healthy people, you're never going to fix the system, then you can't control the cost that way.
Yes, if we have so much resources and have enough money to solve all our problems, but we never allocate accordingly. You know, it's a philosophy of self-interest and getting ahead on, you know, on the backs of other people. And it's this very selfish and non-communal type of attitude under capitalism. And I think if you look at the way we're failing, and I'm fearful of our economy and our society will collapse before we're able to prepare to transition to a new economy, a socialist economy.
So, Brian Moore, we're out of time. Thank you very much for joining us. Are you going to be on the ballot in Connecticut, or do you not know?
No, we will, or we will be as a write-in candidate. Connecticut is one of those states that has a higher signature requirement, which 50,000 signatures, which we don't have the resources to achieve, because 50,000 really means 20 or 25,000 people. Yeah,
because you got to qualify them. So you should talk to Secretary whatever. She's an accommodating person. I'm sure she could work something out for you. Thanks for being with us today.
Super duper.